Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Shay, your local numerologist. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share. Make sure you leave your experiences in the comments below. I do read all the comments. All right, so today I'm picking three cards, three pink cards to be exact. So pink is the color of compassion. Our heart chakra speaks to pink. It's a very loving number. So let's do our loving color. So we got 9, we got 5, and we got 1. Wow. I like how these numbers all come out like back to back because the last one we had was 69, and like we literally have the same thing here. But it is 951. So it equals 6 still. However, we have some different energy here. So 9 still represents endings, right? 9 is also the accumulation of energy. With it being in front, I do get this feeling that something has been going on for a while, right? And this is something is bubbling over the surface. With this one in reverse, I get that you guys, one being right here, are being stopped from doing something that could damage you. I also get this feeling that you haven't been doing things that are in your best interest. You guys have been kind of making the wrong decisions. Some of these things have been done through fear. So I get that you have had the wrong motivation. Fear is not a motivation, right? Fear is like one of those things, you're in a dark alley and you get this really bad feeling, you get scared. It's supposed to like make you more aware, right? But fear isn't a motivator for everyday life. Fear shouldn't motivate you to get up in the morning. Fear shouldn't motivate you to work on a project you love. Fear shouldn't motivate you to get into particular relationships. Um, so you do have to be careful with that. Fear is one of those things, it's literally there for your physical safety. If it isn't like, oh my God, let me get out the way, I'm gonna get hit by a car right now, or this person is coming to hurt me right now. Fear is just one of the, it's useless. It's useless. I'm not gonna say 100% useless, but probably like 90% useless. Unless you live in a really bad area, it doesn't really serve a purpose. Okay. Um, right. So anyway, we have the 5 coming up in reverse, which, as I said, is a number about fear. I get excuse me, I get that there is some kind of situation that you're dealing with right now. As I said, has not been any benefit to you, but I also get that you've been kind of encouraging the bullshit, right? So this energy is also telling me that you have a lack of compassion for yourself. A lot of times when I see this energy of kind of putting ourselves on the back burner, it's something that we learn during childhood. Learning that your emotions aren't important, your thoughts aren't important, the things you feel aren't important. It's always something else that's more important than who you are and what you want and what you need. And that's fine that other people feel that way. It's not fine that you feel that way about yourself, right? I always like to use this. You know how people say it ain't your world? It is your world. To you, it's absolutely your world. Who else's world are you living in besides your own? It is your world. You are the main character in your world, right? I know the main character complex gets a bad name, but you are the main character in your world. It does revolve around you, right? But when you take that aspect and concept and you apply it to other people, right? So everybody else is supposed to think you're the center of the universe as opposed to them thinking that they themselves are the center of their own universe. That's where we run into in it I don't know why I was about to say energy issues. You run into issues. So it's a very negative energy for you to be putting yourself on the back burner for other people. Okay. The 9 and 5 is 14 is definitely giving me like abusive energy. So 14 is abusive freedom. 14 is this number that a lot of times does represent like people taking advantage of like the abilities that you have in life. So if you've ever been in a situation where, let's say, you knew somebody who wasn't working, and you were working, so like they felt like they had a right to your money. They're like, oh well, you making money and I'm not, so you should help me out. Like, no, mm-mm, no. So what I'm getting is to go back and take a good look at your obligations and make sure they are something that applies firmly to you. This accumulation of energy right here, this 9, this is about to knock some shit over. You know what I'm saying? It's like things have been bubbling, 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 bubbling to the surface. You have not been taking care of it. The people around you have not been taking care of it. So now it's going to be like one of those things where it's just in your face. You're not going to be able to avoid it. You need to handle this right now. That's what I'm getting. Deal with it right now. Right? Whatever this energy is, it feels so negative. And again, it's from somebody that's supposed to care about you. So I don't know. I don't really like it, to be honest. I don't like the energy. What is that? You know what I thought of when I saw that? Is one of those Susan B. Anthony coins. And then this reminds me of like a little head. What is this? Holy. What the hell is this? Oh, this is a fucking mermaid, y'all. Y'all see that? This is the back of a mermaid. Let's see what this says. Queen Elizabeth II, right? And I was thinking of the Susan B. Anthony coin, which her history is not great. Okay. So that brings me to something else, right? Sometimes people can represent something and it kind of not be exactly what it is, right? So, for instance, Susan B. Anthony, she was somebody that was supposedly like a feminist for women, but she was only for white women, right? So it sounds good, but it really isn't. Behind the scenes, she was okay with kind of depressing one group of people for uplifting another. And same when I thought about the other name that came to my mind, and I'm sorry, y'all, if this offends you, please feel free to turn it off. But another person that came to mind is Mother Teresa. Like people would be like, "Oh yeah, be good." Like Mother Teresa, she started all these things. She did all these things, but she's more recognized for like her accomplishments than how she treated people, because she treated them like shit, right? So I think that that is also important, that you guys don't only go off of accomplishments, right? In this life, how you treat people is what matters. It will ruin your fucking legacy. Just if you go back and you look at this past year or a couple years of people who have passed away, people look at them and dig into their past and they'll be like, oh no, no, you do not live a good legacy. You hurt people, and I will not. When you pass away, we will not allow you to pretend like you had this really good history when you didn't, because at the end of the day, history is really good at doing that, right? That's why it's always important to look into other histories, right? Women's history, black history, Indian history. I don't give a fuck what the history is, but you have to learn something other than the mainstream history. that was written by the winners, right? History is always written by the winners. The people who came out number two, the people who came out on the end, they're not written into history. They are forgotten. Their story is misconstrued and all of that. Whereas the winners can spin whatever narrative they want about life. And I think that's really important here because this accumulation energy is okay. Somebody has been behind the scenes treating a lot of people like dirt and like trash. And because they have been constantly moving up in life, people, they have forgotten. I don't know how another way to say it, but it's just like I tell you guys all the time, people with money, people with clout, when they open their mouth, everybody wants to listen. Everybody wants to take it as true when it is not, right? So you want to be careful of that. So we have the 5 and the mermaid. And the mermaid is kind of this, I don't know why I want to say organic, but that's not what I mean. A fake creature, a made up creature, whatever the case may be. I don't know if you think mermaids is real. Don't really care. I haven't seen any evidence of it, but it's not really something that I care to look into, right? So the mermaid is a fictitious creature for the purposes of this reading. Um, and what I'm getting from this is to turn your back on things that aren't real, right? So the mermaid is like part human, part like fish, right? So it really represents kind of being solidified and grounded in the emotional side of you. The number 6 is a number about our relationships, our social relationships. I like to describe it of the balance that we have of love inside, and so we show it outside. So a lot of times how we treat people is how we feel about ourselves inside. But also you have to keep in mind the way that you allow people to treat you is because some part of you feels like you deserve it, right? So stand firm in your emotional needs. It's okay to need things emotionally. It's not okay to fear your emotions. So we have this one in reverse coming up with the mirror, and it's literally telling me to just take a good look at yourself. The things that you want, the things that you need, the things that you have been doing, to see if they really fit with what you want your future to be. To see if it's really matching up, or are you just going through the motions, or are you living someone else's dream? Okay, are you tending to someone else and not yourself? It's not good karma, right? So I always tell you guys, when we think about karma, we think about, oh, this person accosted us and they're gonna get bad karma for it. But your karma for allowing somebody to treat you that way is that they're gonna continue to do that. Right? If you allow somebody to step on your foot every time they walk by you, they're not going to care about stepping on your foot. They're just going to do it. Sure, they could have bad karma for that, but do you think getting your foot stepped on is good karma? It's not. I'm just going to tell you, it is not. All right, let's pick some playing cards here. 9, 5, 1. 5 is moving all around. We're going to pick a card for 5 first. Ooh, 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands is a burden. Burden. You are burdened by turning your back. And listen, let me just say,